Hi, should you get a Mac or should you get a Windows PC for music production? I will try to be as unbiased as possible in this video, but I will share my own opinion about the subject, and I will also show you some Mac parts later in this video, so keep watching. This is a never-ending debate about what system is best to use, and depending on who you're asking, you'll get many different answers. And the simplest answer is really buy the system that you are most comfortable with, and the system that works with the DAW you are planning to use. However, the answer isn't always that simple, and I will try to outline some of the differences between Mac and Windows, so you can make your own decision on what to choose. If you want to use Logic, you don't really have a choice, you have to get a Mac. But other DAWs like Pro Tools, Ableton Live, Cubase, Reason, Bitwig, and even FL Studio is multi-platform nowadays. So this means you can use it on your Mac and you can use it on Windows. It doesn't matter. And you may have been told that Macs are best for music production, and I don't have anything to really back that up, but at least in the 90s, Macs dominated the professional music studios. But if you watching are from a professional music studio, I guess you already know what tools you have to use to get your invoices paid. So this video is really for the hobbyist or maybe semi-professional producer. So why should you choose a Mac? Well, as I mentioned earlier, if you want to use Logic, you have to get a Mac. But you also have GarageBand, which is free, and it comes with the Mac. It's a stripped-down version of Logic, but any GarageBand project you make, you can open up that in Logic if you decide to get that later on. And GarageBand have a lot of samples and some synths that are very good. So it's a good thing to start out with if you are just starting out. And if you buy a Mac, you have everything you need to get started. So you don't have to buy any software in addition to get going. And Macs have often been the computer of choice in creative industries, and they are known for their stability and their ease of use. So if you need to work with others, there is a high probability that they also use a Mac. When you get a Mac, most of the system is ready to go from the box. You may have to install some plugins yourself if you have some extra plugins you want, and maybe connect an audio interface to it. But most of the time this is painless and you're ready to go right away. It just works. Actually, it just works. So, but Macs are generally more expensive than a PC with Windows. But with a Mac you get the complete package with quality materials, excellent build quality, and many people agree that this is worth paying extra for. And Mac OS is considered to be a stable and fantastic operating system, and it's perfect for audio work with its core audio system. It's proven, and it's a stable audio system. Macs also tend to get less viruses and malware, although it exists malware and viruses for Macs, but it's much less of a problem compared to Windows. And with a Mac you have a lot of security functions built into the OS that should protect you from it. But nothing can protect you from yourself. So, if ease of use, stable OS, and painless connectivity, and build quality, if that's important for you, then maybe a Mac would be the way to go if your budget budget allows it. So why should you choose a PC? A PC is cheaper. You get more raw performance out of your system for less money spent. A PC is upgradable. A Mac nowadays isn't upgradable, almost. A few years ago, you could buy a lower spec Mac, and you could upgrade some of its parts later on. And this could save you some upfront costs. You could, for example, upgrade the RAM. It's there, and you have the hard drive over here. You could just, if you filled up to your hard drive, you could buy another one or an SSD, and you could install it over here, and you're good to go. If you want to upgrade your laptop or add more storage to your expensive $4,000 laptop, you have to plug it in here. So that's the way to go now. So the Mac I recently showed you now, it's everything is this one. Everything is soldered onto the motherboard, so you can't upgrade it. And it looks like this. You have the CPU, GPU, memory, SSD, even the wireless and Bluetooth card. It's soldered onto the motherboard, and you can't really replace it. You can buy maybe you could buy a new motherboard, but it's so expensive that it's just not worth it. And if you have a PC, you can start out cheap, maybe buy a good motherboard, but maybe a cheaper CPU, maybe, and you can add hardware later on down the line or upgrade. If you want to upgrade your hard drive, you don't have to go out and buy a completely new computer. And if you want to upgrade your RAM, of course you buy more RAM. You don't have to buy a new computer. That's more economical. And with a PC, you can also decide what you think it's most important. Do you want to game on the system? Well, great, get a GPU, and gaming is very much possible. Gaming on a Mac is it's not impossible. It works, but I don't expect to play the latest Call of Duty or any AAA titles with high frame rates and very smooth gameplay. The Mac will probably throttle down when it gets warm, and the performance will suffer after that. To buy a PC, you could buy a PC and get someone to build it for you, or you could build it yourself if you want. If you want to build a PC yourself, you have to know a thing or two about computers, but not really that much. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there today that shows you how to build your own computer, and it's not really that hard. So you could try it if you want. So what do I use? I have used Macs earlier. As you can see on my YouTube channel, I have some videos where you have the Mac OS system there, but nowadays I use a Windows PC for most of my production. And the biggest reason for this is because I need the raw CPU power for many of my projects. A lot of projects, they use a lot of soft synths, and soft synths and plugins are CPU heavy. Especially when I use a lot of unison and a lot of effects and a lot of layering, this adds up and it's a lot of resources from the PC. If I would have to get a Mac with all this specification, it would be so expensive that it just isn't funny anymore. And I can't justify the costs. That's just the way it is. Also, I do some occasional gaming, and it's just better to play World of Warcraft on a PC with Windows than in a Mac. That's just my opinion. But one thing, if you just record audio and maybe you have a little synth or something, you could go along with a Mac, because if you use a lot of synths, it uses a lot of CPU power, and that's the reason I use a PC. But if you are recording, if you are playing guitar, if you are singing, and maybe you have one or two synths and one effect, the most Macs would of course run that without any issue. So you have to think about the use, how you use your computer and how you produce your music, because if you don't produce it like the way I do, a Mac may be the right choice for you. Because I record videos of music production, that also requires some resources, and while playing back the project in real time, so it's just more economical for me to use a PC. And I also occasionally I need to swap out my hard drive when it gets filled up, and I would very much like to do that without buying a new computer or have something hanging out of here. And if I want to upgrade the RAM, that's the same thing. I don't want to replace the entire motherboard. This doesn't mean I never would like to use a Mac for music production. If I travel, I have the laptop with me. I don't have my desktop with me, and sometimes I have sat in a hotel room and used my laptop with Ableton Live and just tried to make some melodies. That's one thing. And when I've done that and got home again, I just load up the project on my PC and continue there. So that's one way to do it. But I haven't paid for the Mac myself. It's my employer that provides it. But I wouldn't buy it myself if I had to pay it for myself. So in closing, I can't really tell you what to buy. That's a decision you have to do for yourself. But I hope this video helped you in some way. And I wish you good luck with your own music production as well. And now we are getting to the end, so make sure to click the bell button on the top here, or if it's there, and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want more videos like this one. Please drop a like if you like the video. Also check out my website, it's BJOKIB.com, and I have a lot of royalty-free tracks there, so you can download them and use them for background music in your YouTube videos. If you stream on Twitch, if you have a game you're developing, you just have to credit me with a link back to my website. And if you don't want to credit me, I have licenses as well, so you can buy them. It's up to you. But until next time, take care and goodbye.